And you hate to
Yes.
think about losing it, but down the line, the government's going to have to steal money from some source. In Argentina, they've simply gone in and stolen the pension funds. In Zimbabwe, where we put the government in power, they simply go into the bank deposits and steal the money out of the bank deposits and say,
Isn't that
we need the
awful?
more money than you do. We need the money to maintain, the high lifestyles of the military and the police. So we're going to take your money, and if you want to complain, why you just file a petition? Here's the telephone number to call. And it doesn't do any good. Okay, so just keep smiling between clenched teeth. Okay, that's all you can do, but don't let it get you down. It's only money.
Okay, thank you.
God bless. Okay, fine. Our telephone number is 1-888-24-LIBERTY, 1-888-24-LIBERTY, or 464-8295. And we're living in fascinating times. But remember, of course, as Bob I'm sure will tell you, that there's a spiritual component to everything going on. And certainly he talks about the black nobility and the Illuminati, but these are all organizations tied into the occult. Once you begin to realize that we are fighting a spiritual battle in the financial battlefield, all you can do when you see these things happening is realize, all we can do is draw close to the Lord and focus upon Him. And a lot of us, if we can survive with anything when this whole thing is over, we're going to be ahead of most people, because I fear an awful lot of people are going to lose most of what they have. What do you think is going to happen as far as the relationship of gold to silver? Traditionally it was 16 to 1. Now it's around 53 to 1. Certainly it's got a long way to think silver is going to go up. But for this being an industrial metal, do you think it'll ever return to being a monetary metal, that is silver?
Possible, but not probable. And I don't pay much attention to the ratios. And the reason why is that we have markets that are manipulated. And when you have that, you can't use ratios or waves or cycles, and you can't use technical analysis for the most part, except on a long-term basis. They've just messed up every market, and it's really dreadful.
Well, now, Chris, you've been writing in your International Forecaster that some people who are involved in the commodity market have actually called for delivery of the gold. What happened in this latest time? Has that come up? And, of course, they were good time to keep delivery. Did some people actually take delivery on the gold rather than just playing the commodity market?
A substantial amount, probably about 1/3. And usually it's less than 1%. And so they're beginning to take delivery, and in a big way. And I don't know what the COMEX is going to do, because a couple of more delivery months like that, and they're not going to have enough eligible gold. One of the strange things is that they're talking about their inventories, and they're unchanged, and they're delivering out. And so they're lying about their inventories at COMEX. And so, you don't play there. You abandon that market because it's rigged. And you just go to the spot market.
Well, can you actually buy gold on the stock market, on the spot market?
Right, taking immediate delivery, usually for cash.
Okay. But then that's what you have.
That's the way to go. And, of course, what a lot of people have been doing is that they have been buying physical gold and silver bullion and coins all over the world. I mean, for the last year, up until just recently, delivery was very, very tight, very difficult, and it's loosened up somewhat. But all of that gold is going into investment, and it's big. People are fleeing their currencies.
Well, I think
they're afraid.
Well, they ought to be afraid, and certainly the history of, if you read the history of what's happened time and time again, going back to the days of ancient Greece and Rome, and as you point out, what happened in Venice, what happened in Florence, certainly what happened in the United States when we established our nation, what happened in France in the early 1700s and late 1700s, and certainly what's going on today. They're simply examples of the failure of a fiat money system, and most people get wiped out. Those people who are in gold and silver at least maintain some semblance of their wealth. But this is what people don't understand because they don't teach the history. In fact, everything is done to conceal the truth about these fiat money systems from the public. They don't teach our children the importance of something behind the money. They tell us that money has value, and it has no value unless it has backing, and no currency in the world today has any backing behind it.
Well, you're right about that.
What about the Chinese? What are they doing now? Because we heard that they've doubled their gold reserve.
They're in serious trouble. I mean, they got 30 million unemployed. They're spending $576 billion on stimulus, and then they're ramming the banks forward, taking them to $1.2 trillion, and it isn't going to work. I mean, you look at Keynesianism, and it's never worked. It's been a short-term palliative. They've never had to deal with a monstrosity that they're facing now. They're not going to be able to inflate their way out of it.
Well, I think you're probably absolutely right, and I think that all we can do is try to warn people about what lies ahead and to try to get them to make their preparations for the very difficult times. And, of course, I really believe that we're going to see a breakdown of local governments. We're going to see a breakdown of state governments. They're simply going to run out of funds. We'll see the inability to fill the potholes in our roads. And certainly you can't solve this problem by printing more money because you create runaway inflation. And yet that is exactly what they're doing. The most massive expansion in monetary supply, I believe, in history is taking place today under the Obama administration. May God help us. Well, Bob, you got 3 minutes to wrap up the program today.
Stan, I've heard that before.
Yes, earlier today we did the earlier program, but you still now have 3 minutes.
I got to disarm you somehow.
I know.
But anyway, I think that people who are in the market should be out. You heard that lady today call in from Washington State and tell you the predicament that public employees are in, at least in the state of Washington, and most of the states are the same. You have to get ready, and that's freeze-dried, dehydrated foods, and a filter, and a method to defend your family. And if you have something left over after you clear up your credit card debt or make it reasonable, and be able to buy gold and silver related assets. But it's not going to be an easy road. We're looking at the 1940s and 50s all over again. People are going to have a lifestyle that they had only heard about. The only people who know about that era are old people like Stan and I who lived through it, and we know how difficult it was. And that's what we're going back to. If we're lucky, we don't know how bad this thing's going to get. And I wish there was a method of stopping what these Illuminists are doing, but there really isn't. The court system doesn't work. Congress is bought and paid for. We have some hope with Ron Paul's Bill 1207 to investigate, essentially, the Federal Reserve. And with that to pass, and he has 134 co-sponsors, which is extraordinarily surprising, we could go after the Fed and do away with it. And that could be the beginning of a turnaround if we can get Congress to pass tariffs on goods and services. And those things in combination over the next 2 years could save America and its economy. If they don't happen, I don't know what the answer is.
Well, all we can do is keep talking, educating people, getting them prepared for the difficult times that lie ahead, and understand the spiritual forces at work behind the scenes that are moving the world towards catastrophe. Our guest has been Bob Chapman. Bob, we'll talk to you again the first of next week. God bless.
Surely will. Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye-bye.